I'm here today with Gary Simmons from Shire Martial Arts. Welcome, Gary.
Thanks, Donna.
So glad you could be here today. We just heard your talk, and you've told us a whole lot of interesting things. I really want the parents who can come today to be a part of this and to hear what you have to say.
Sure.
So I understand that you have been in martial arts for over 25 years.
Yeah, that's right. My late instructor, a Korean gentleman called Chong-Soo Kim, he was one of the founders of Taekwondo in New South Wales and Australia.
Yeah.
And he was invited by the Australian government to come over on a cultural exchange. And anyway, as it turned out, he had a hereditary disease, and he passed away in about 1987. And it just so happened I was his senior student, and it all happened pretty quickly. And we just needed to continue, and that mantle sort of fell on me.
Right.
So we started, after that, we didn't have the resources to carry on with a full-time centre back then, so we just went to various school halls and grew out of them, and then we got our first full-time premises, and then another one, and then and now we're at our present location at Caringbah and Tarrant Point. Yeah.
That's great, that's great. Well, you sound very passionate about what you do.
I am.
And so why don't you tell me a little bit more about your passion?
Well, basically, I just want to empower people and empower people not to be held back by their fears, because even as adults, and I've sort of analysed people's fears. They say public speaking is one of the biggest fears. Moving house is another fear, but also the fear of being attacked, the fear of not being good enough, the fear of looking stupid, and so many people sit on the fence and not do what they really want to do because of this fear. And martial arts is a great vehicle for overcoming this and finding out what it is that we can do as humans to reach our zenith and our ultimate potential.
Yeah, and it's not just about fighting and hurting people.
No.
In fact, it's not about that at all.
At our school, there's certainly people who teach martial arts for that end, and there is a place for that. But what I've realised is that only all the tough people in the world, they're tough, and their toughness will get them by anywhere.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking for the people who need to be drawn out of their shell and to be empowered to overcome their fears, because if they can do that, our society will be so much richer, rather at the risk of sounding a bit lofty. And also, I know for myself, when I was young, I was lacking confidence, and I could have done a lot more in my life in hindsight if I had a means to overcome that. And so I believe I have this means, and so I've been doing it for so long, I've seen some good results. So
you're teaching your students?
And so in the Shire, I have the school, Shire Martial Arts, but outside of the Shire, I have this thing called Be Safe in Your Space. It's a concept for non-violent self-defence.
And it's on Facebook?
Yeah, it's on Facebook, and I also have a website. It's besafeinyourspace.com. There's no AU, so be safe. And basically, because everyone can benefit from the things that martial arts have to offer, but the reality is not everyone's going to come down and join a martial arts school and do training. And really, the thing is, there's an old saying that black belts, they know how to beat up people and get into fights, but they don't. They use this non-physical, non-violent means of getting throughout life, so they don't have to beat up people. And so I've tried to encapsulate what these issues are and help people so anyone can check it out, and that's one of my big passions.
So one of the ways you do that with your students that start from age 5 all the way through, you even have adults that come to you.
I do, yeah.
Well, with them, you were telling us that you teach them how to learn respect through creeds, chants and promises.
It's a concept which we call being a black belt on the inside. A black belt on the outside is using fists and knife hands and knees and elbows and kicks, what everyone knows martial arts to be. But a black belt on the inside, Donna, is the concepts such as respect, self-confidence, self-esteem, loyalty, perseverance, the spirit of charity and friendship. Those sort of things that we need to thrive in everyday life. And so to achieve that, we have what we call a student creed. And the Shire Martial Arts student creed goes, I'll try and remember it. I'll constantly see, it's when you've got a uniform on and they're all saying with me it's easy, but in this environment it's a bit tough. Anyway, I'll constantly seek strength for my body, knowledge for my mind, and integrity in my spirit. I'll respect all people and always approach others in the spirit of friendship and charity. I'm committed to being confident, modest, patient, self-disciplined, and responsible for myself. I'll only use the skills I learn in a positive and ethical way.
That's
yeah, I
great.
did it.
And that's a way of setting boundaries
It
as well.
is,
You were
yeah,
telling us it's
yeah.
very important for children.
Yeah, for
to
children,
have
I have children, say, from about 8 years old learning that right up to adults. Because the theory is that as humans, if we haven't had any sort of personal development, we react to all situations in 3 or 4 ways, and that can be really limiting. For example, if we feel a conflict arising, it might be because we said something or did something and that person is feeling offence and so they're getting upset.
Yeah.
But if you have that awareness, you say, well, maybe what I said there might have put them off. So you can say, look, if I said that, I really didn't mean that, Donna, and no hard feelings. And then we can sort of let that go and then move on.
Yeah.
But then if I was being aggressive to you, you could say, Gary, that's enough. That's unacceptable. And then I go, oh, okay, because as I said in my talk, people need to be trained as to how you need to be treated. And so people need to be, if someone's being aggressive or in your face, they have to be told, no, this is unacceptable. Not in an aggressive or mean way, but in a calm, non-emotional way. And then at least they know, and then you have a chance to react accordingly once that's been said.
So that's what you mean by personal development, learning
Exactly.
skills.
Yeah.
Positive skills to use as you grow up. So in your adulthood, you have the ability to manage different situations.
Exactly.
And that's what's really important.
Because in the forum of martial arts, our basic martial art is Taekwondo, which literally means the art of attacking with the hands and feet. And so we do it in a place called a Dojang, the place where we learn to do that. And we have this uniform, which we call a dobok, the thing we wear. And so it's a bit like doing if you're doing drama, so you're doing a Shakespearean play and you're wearing that period piece and you're putting yourself into that character going back in that time. So when you wear this uniform within this environment, you're really looking at these quite extreme situations and examining it from a practical point of view and looking at all the pros and cons and risks. And then when you go home and put your everyday clothes on, that's a compartment of your life that you've got some understanding about, and so it doesn't, when somebody's being aggressive or mean or even threatening, you can sort of draw on that, so you're not going to be there's less chance of becoming a victim of other people's aggression.
You've got a toolbox there where you can pick out tools and you know what to do.
That's exactly
in those
right.
situations. So tell me a little bit about the symbols that you use in your particular school.
Okay, well, basically, once again, martial arts is competency-based training. So every student, from the most littlest guy to a 60-year-old adult, starts on a white belt. And so we have the system, for the real little guys, we have a system, we don't train them because they don't have the gross motor skills or fine motor skills. So it's all about attendance. They get a sticker for turning up, they get 4 stickers. And they get a
constant positive reinforcement.
Yeah, they get a stripe on their belt. Another 4 stickers, another stripe, another 4, another stripe, another 4, and a new belt. But with the older kids, they've got to attend and get some attendance. That proves their attendance. Airline pilots need air time. Ships captains need sea times. Black belts need mat time. Then they're qualified to do a test. Okay. When they pass the test, they get a skill stripe. And then when they pass 3 tests, they move on to the next belt.
Because it's a long time between coloured belts,
it
isn't
is,
it? And children can lose their focus and their motivation. So this way you're building constant motivation and reinforcement throughout their lessons.
And so it's about also perseverance, because nothing worthwhile is gained easily. So if you want to learn a musical instrument, you have to learn, and if you've got to practice and you've got to make mistakes. If you've got to get through your HSC, there's some real lonely nights there when the kids study, and so it basically teaches them how to learn. And then, most importantly, it gives them an idea, if you make a mistake, well, how do you react? Because as humans, we tend to react, as I said before, in 3 or 4 ways all the time. And so within this framework, you get to sort of see what your particular reaction is to a mistake, and if that doesn't serve you, well then you have some tools to make the necessary changes.
In a safe environment.
Within a safe environment.
Absolutely. And you have some leadership programs you were telling us about too, and that's kind of progression from the little dolphins to the big dolphins and further up, where everybody helps in their hierarchy.
They do, yeah. And what I do, I have, if you want to find out a bit more, if you go to our website, shiremartialarts.com.au, you'll see log in, click on that, spool down, you'll see SMA SWAT Team, that's Special Winning Attitude Team. Click on that and there's a video, and it kind of explains our leadership program concept. And we did one late last year, and interestingly, the first time I put a couple of 10-year-olds on, had a couple of these young guys, a lot of potential, and when they finish, I give them this SWAT Team badge, and then the ones who show initiative, I then promote them to the STORM Team, Special Team of Role Model, and I give them a fancy blue uniform, and then I pay them. And so these kids are being paid as martial arts instructors to help the younger kids. It really is a joy to watch and see them save their own money.
Yeah, so it's a real community.
It is.
Where older kids help younger kids and help them develop and grow, and there's a sense of community and ownership.
Exactly, mentoring. And as I said, our kids programs, we have quite a few girls, but the majority of boys. And so there's a place for positive male role models, and I've just got 3 girls on our instructing team, and so these girls are very positive young ladies for the girls, and also they're always addressed as Miss, and so these guys are learning how to respect women, which is also a very important part of our program.
Fabulous. And you have different things. We won't go into every single one of them, but you have application forms they have to fill in to go to the next level.
That's
they have to take responsibility. They take it to their parents and they take it to their teacher. And if on there's something that a teacher or parent says that's not going to get them to the next level, they don't get to the next level.
That's right. Well, I said the student creed that you heard, so basically that covers mucking up at home and mucking up at school, and so mum or the teacher can just put a little no there, and that's a red flag for me, and so then I can haul the kid up and make them feel like their next belt's on the line because there's a no. They haven't agreed to these promises we make every week in class, and so then we have some systems that we involve the parents where they've got to do these certain tasks, and they have to be signed off by the parents or the teachers, and then they do get promoted as part of that reward, and high fives, and I knew you could do it, and all that sort of stuff.
So again, there's those boundaries.
Yeah.
So sometimes where the parents might not get the children to be listening to them at home, there's a third party there.
That's right.
Good role model to look up to.
I can't believe how many parents say, oh, if you don't clean your room, I'll be telling Grunge on him Gary that you're not listening to mum, and apparently that has they're going, oh no, don't do that, and so they do. It's heavy. Now I'm empowering my younger STORM team guys to take on that role, and I manage these guys. I don't micromanage all the little kids unless there's a problem, and I help our teen leaders and I help them manage the younger ones. So I give them skills to be managers and to be responsible for the younger people as well.
Yeah. So also one of the things you do, I think, is fabulous, Gary, is you help, even though martial arts seems like an individual sport, you make it into a team sport with your 2 teams, the red and the black team. So they work with each other towards a common goal.
There's a misconception that martial art, soccer and cricket's all team sports, but martial arts is a team because we have the concept of attack and defence, and so you need that partner to he or she's got to attack you so you can do your defence move, and then out of respect you've got to give them a turn, and so this teamwork is very, very important. And as you said, Donna, we've got 2 houses, the red team and the blue team, so no one is a star, and so we have people who they all work as a team to raise their team rather than having individual champions, because I believe our society is giving too much pressure, and for all the star achievers, they get too much attention, and
they're the ones getting the trophy.
They're the ones getting all the trophy, and it's the majority who need to be lifted to help our society as a whole.
Absolutely, I absolutely agree. I think it's wonderful. So we'll just finish up on one very important point I think you made about how we teach other people how to treat us. And in order to gain respect, you need to have consequences and boundaries.
I think in regards to parents, I was asked a question, and The kid is good everywhere else, and at home they're very disrespectful to mum and the siblings. Well, that needs consequences. First, they've got to be explained to, this is unacceptable because it makes me feel like this. And if everyone did that, the house would be chaos because everyone would be doing that. So within harmony, this is why we need to do it. Then I do it again, saying, well, remember how we spoke about that? Well, I'm feeling this because of that. And look, I've spoken to you a few times now, and this is unacceptable. So if this happens, if you do that again, these are going to be the consequences. And not in a shiny way. I use the analogy of like if you get a ticket from the policeman will pull over. He doesn't come out, right, you broke the law. He'll go, oh, hello, did you have a nice weekend? You go, oh, yeah, it wasn't bad. You think, oh, he's going to let me off. He's writing the ticket. And then he goes, yeah, it's no, the footy to the Sharks did well this weekend, didn't they? You go, yeah, and then he hands over, you look over, not that I've had one, and he looks at it, and you see that there's a ticket, but he does it in a really unemotional
really nice
way.
Yeah.
You broke the law,
and
these are the consequences. There it is, have a nice day. And then,
great.
And you can't argue with that, so that's kind of the model that I use.
Well, that's great, Gary. Thanks very much for coming today. And I think to wrap it up, pretty much what you're saying is in your particular school, you focus a lot on leadership, positivity, setting boundaries, and building up the individual. Yeah,
that's exactly right.
Is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, that about sums it up. And no, our school, sure, we like people to come to our school, but I find that most accredited and reputable schools and instructors is pretty much the same. And in this modern day and age, we're here to use martial arts. That's why it's been passed around from person to person for over 2,500 years, because it has all these abilities and these benefits. And if you can utilise that, but it does take effort. Everything in the world takes effort and perseverance. And if you can organise that, either our school or somebody else's, you'll definitely get the benefits from that.
That's great. Well, thanks very much for coming to
Thanks, Donna,
Street today.
and thanks everyone else.
Thank you.